Well, we are live. It's 8:03 p.m. Monday, May 2nd. Oh boy, do we got a show for you. We're going to talk about what happened in Portland over the weekend with the truckers and the GOP candidate. We're going to talk about disorder on the border. Plus, we have a bunch of different clips to play. We'll talk about some of the big guests we have coming up in the next 2 weeks. This is Wake Up America.
News channel after news channel after news channel. Ever wonder why they report the same news? This is Wake Up America.
Brought to you by Citizen Stringer.
The media has become absolute lunacy. What makes us different? We just tell the truth. Daily headlines, politics, social issues, focusing on headlines that the mainstream media ignores. Conservative to the core and honest, sometimes to a fault. Unapologetically American. Welcome to Wake Up America with your host, Stephen Oatley.
Well, yeah. So it's Monday. It feels like a hump day for me. I'm not quite sure why. Could have been that I slept on the couch last night. Not really sure. I get to sleep on the couch tonight again. I was originally planning on doing the show at 9 o'clock, and then I don't know how long this one's going to run. It may run a little bit late because we got a lot to talk about. So I decided to cut into the Santilli show. Santilli show will be on demand. It's in its entirety. Had a really good interview going, and I'm sorry I had to cut into it on citizenstringer.tv. But you know, we got to do what we got to do. I got to bring you the news and talk about what's going on. But first, this show is sponsored by Spartan Armor Systems. If you're unfamiliar with who they are, they're a Tucson, Arizona-based body armor manufacturer. They make some of the best body armor you could probably ever find. It's got our seal of approval. They also have some nice hats. You can see them behind my head, but my head's huge, so you can't. They have pouches, tactical gear, concealable up to level 4, ceramic. They got a bunch of stuff. Go check them out, SpartanArmorSystems.com. Use code YEET, and you get 5% off your order. They had to lower that percentage. I'm so used to saying 10, but they had to lower it because, everything going on in Russia and Ukraine. People are buying a lot of body armor. Or it could just be people are afraid of what's happening in this country because, well, woo, do I got a mass shooting report for you guys. There were too many for me to even really go into. So I just stuck it from Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. And this was this morning that I wrote this, so it probably has already been updated with even more mass shootings. But over that 3-day period, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, 8 mass shootings, leaving 5 people dead, 41 other people injured. We're going to start in New Orleans. 6 people suffered injuries after being shot outside an uptown neighborhood bar in New Orleans when a motorist drove past and sprayed bullets into the crowd. Each of the victims, 4 women and 2 men, were hit in the lower part of their body. Local media reports that emergency medical services took the 4 women to the hospital. 2 of the men made it to a hospital on their own. No suspect information is available. No motive is known for the shooting. Very common theme. You guys have heard me say that a lot. Also on Friday in Laurel, Mississippi, officers responded to the intersection of Farrell and Poplar to reports of gunshots. According to police, a large party turned into a disturbance and then escalated into shots being fired. 4 victims were transported to a local hospital for treatment, with 2 later transferred in more serious care to Forest General Hospital. Police say that a 20-year-old named Javon Grayson did turn himself in. He's been charged with aggravated assault. Unclear of how many counts. No motive is known for the shooting, but at least they got the suspect. They released his identity on Facebook. He had no choice but to turn himself in because they posted a big picture of his face on Facebook within hours of him doing the shooting. So that's awesome. I wish more police departments would do that. On Friday around 3:45 p.m., the Jackson Police Department responded to a shooting in the area of 310 North Parkway in West Jackson, Tennessee. Upon arrival, officers found 4 victims shot in a vehicle. 2 of the victims were 16-year-old juveniles and 2 were 18-year-old adults. 1 juvenile and 1 adult died as a result of their injuries. Witnesses stated that a black male was shooting at the victim's vehicle from a black 4-door sedan. No suspect is in custody and no motive is known for the shooting. Next, one man is dead and 4 women were injured after a shooting outside of an Atlanta apartment complex late Saturday night. Atlanta police say the shooting happened after a fight broke out. Common theme, right? You can't fight with your hands anymore. You got to fight with guns, apparently. They say someone pulled out a gun and started shooting. Atlanta Police Lieutenant Ralph Woolfolk said that 2 of the women were transported to Grady Memorial Hospital, and then the other 2 women were sent to Atlanta Medical Center. He said someone attempted to load the man into the car and drive him to the hospital, but he never left the complex. Unfortunately, he died as a result of his injuries. Police haven't identified any of the victims or named any suspects. However, Atlanta police say they believe they know who may have been involved in that shooting, but refuse to give any additional information. Now, you may have seen this next mass shooting on national media just for a second, and then it faded off into obscurity like all things mass shootings. Dozens of law enforcement officers from multiple agencies responded to the Mississippi Fairgrounds late Saturday night after shooters opened fire at the event near the Mississippi Trade Mart around 10 p.m. on Saturday. When police arrived, they discovered 5 people were shot. Officers engaged one of the shooting suspects, identified as a 15 to 17-year-old boy. He was killed by police. Officers say 2 other minors were also detained. It's unclear of whether they've been charged. Police recovered several firearms on scene, including handguns and rifles and all sorts of stuff. There's no motive yet for the shooting, and no suspect information is available outside of the one that they killed. Deputies responded to a party near Clinton, North Carolina. What? I messed that one up. Around 2:50 a.m. Sunday morning, 1 man was killed and 2 others were injured when gunfire rang out. Now, you may be curious, why is this on the mass shooting report? Because the total number of injured is unclear, because media is all reporting that there were 4 people injured. The police are reporting that there were 3 people injured, but there may be more people injured. And it was a really cryptic message. I decided to include this in the mass shooting reports because I have a feeling that the media knows more than police in regards to this right now. Because, well, if you have mass shootings going on in your neighborhood, you're not that great at policing. And I know I'm just being critical. Anyway, in Springfield, Ohio, 1 person is dead and 4 others were injured after a mass shooting early yesterday morning. According to Captain Michael Kranz of the Springfield Police Department, crews were called to reports of a shooting outside a residence in the 1200 block of Clinton Avenue around 2:40 a.m. In total, 5 people were shot. Again, women seem to be the ones that are really getting shot up in this week's mass shooting report. 3 women and 2 men were shot. Their ages ranged from 19 to 24. One of the women shot was pronounced dead on the scene. 4 others were hospitalized. Their conditions and identities have not been released. No suspect information is available. No motive is available either. Not surprising, right? Common theme. Also, 12 people, including the suspected gunman, were injured following an early morning shooting yesterday morning in Lafayette, Louisiana. Police spokesperson Sergeant Robin Green said officers responded to reports of shots fired in progress, and when they arrived, they came into contact with the suspected gunman. An officer fired a service weapon and struck the suspect, Green said. The suspect is in critical condition. He's alive. There were no fatalities, luckily, although there were 12 people injured. Green said it remains unclear if any of the victims knew the gunman or if he was just shooting people at random. That was in Louisiana. Now, here's some facts for you. We love facts, right? Don't you guys love facts? I do. Anyway, in total, there have been 172 mass shootings, leaving 184 dead and another 719 injured since January. Since January 1st of this year. Let me repeat that for all you leftists that watch my show. In total, there have been 172 mass shootings, leaving 184 people dead and another 719 people injured since January 1st of this year. The majority of the suspects are not legal gun owners. It has a lot to do with crime and guns and gangs and drugs and parties, and we know that. We cover this every week. But you know what's crazy? When you actually look at the numbers, it's even more frightening. More. Anyway, Since Biden took office in 2021, there have been 865 mass shootings, resulting in 887 people killed, 3,561 people injured. In a total of, I'm going to say it again, 865 mass shootings in the 15 months that President Biden has held office. Now, everyone loves to compare. Biden always does that. Well, this is because of our previous administration's lax policies on guns. Okay, right. Everyone likes to compare what's going on in this administration to what happened in Trump's administration. So why don't we do that? Why don't we do it? Why don't we compare mass shootings for the first 15 months of the Biden administration versus mass shootings for the first 15 months of the Trump administration? Are you ready? Comparing the same period of the first year and a half of the Trump administration has been an 84.02% increase in mass shootings since Biden took office. There's been a 49.32% increase in fatalities since Biden took office, and an 80.12% increase in injuries related to gunfire since Biden took office. He's doing a great job, isn't he? Aren't you guys all really excited that we have a guy that doesn't even remember that he was a senator from Delaware? It's crazy. But that was your mass shooting report. You're very welcome for that. I enjoy doing those sometimes. Not really. I actually hate them. It's just death. Death that nobody talks about. Mainstream media doesn't talk about this. They did for a little bit, and then they stopped. You know why? Because it didn't fit their narrative. Of course, they're not going to talk about all the mass shootings that happen all throughout the country every single day. No, why would they? That would be like, oh, we're going to talk about the border crisis. Ha! They're not going to do that. Luckily, we're here, and we're going to talk about the border crisis in depth. Are you ready? Are your seatbelts fastened? What time is it? 8:15. I'm on a roll. Okay, I'm kicking ass and taking names. Anyway, every week, we, in addition to the mass shooting report that we do on the show, Lauren Jessup, one of our writers on Citizen Stringer, publishes what we like to call Disorder on the Border, weekly roundup. She put out 2. She's got to do part 1 and part 2 now because they're so damn big. Do you understand all the stuff that's going on at the border? It's so prevalent. There's so much destruction at our southern border every single day. It's getting worse. Rio Grande City Border Patrol station agents encountered an unaccompanied 2-year-old boy near the Rio Grande, just one of the 38,000 unaccompanied minors encountered during the first 6 months of fiscal year 2022 in the sector. Rio Grande City agents working near Roma encountered a 2-year-old non-citizen unaccompanied child at 1:30 a.m. on April 19th. The boy, a Honduran national who was traveling within a group of 38 illegal aliens, had lost his shoe in the mud while crossing. Agents questioned the group to obtain information on the child. However, no one claimed to know him. A birth certificate was discovered on the boy that included the father's information handwritten on the back. The child was medically screened by Border Patrol emergency medical technicians who determined that the child was in good health and was transported to the station for further investigation. RGV agents encountered over 38,000 NUCs in the first 6 months of fiscal year 2022, which is what we already said. This year's encounters are outpacing last year's for the same reporting period. NUC encounters bring additional challenges for agents in the field and at processing centers. Many of the unaccompanied children encountered by Border Patrol are very young and unable to provide names or phone numbers of family members. In order to locate next of kin, agents must rely on information written on articles of clothing or handwritten notes found among their property. And here's just some of the stuff that's happened at the United States border that nobody ever talks about. On April 24th, agents responded to a vehicle that was encountered by the U.S. Fish and Wildlife Services near Sescaba. I'm saying that wrong, but whatever. And determined the driver, a U.S. citizen, was smuggling 7 Mexican nationals. On April 24th, in Yuma sector, a group of illegals dressed in light green clothing, carrying camouflage backpacks and wearing carpet booties over their shoes to avoid leaving footprints, were apprehended by Border Patrol as they walked through the desert east of Yuma. They entered the U.S. from Mexico and were attempting to move north on Interstate 8 to be picked up by a smuggler. In Texas Big Bend sector on the 21st, agents track and apprehend multiple groups totaling 30 in their sector. In Del Rio on April 20th, a K-9 alerted agents to a food trailer at the checkpoint, leading to the discovery of 17 illegals locked in a small ceiling compartment inside the trailer. This is insane. Look at look at this picture. They were inside that. Isn't that insane? On April 23rd and 24th last week, the Border Patrol in Del Rio sector reported encountering the following. This is in 1 week. 2,085 illegal aliens, 67 unaccompanied children, 522 family units, and 6 criminals. They also intercepted 25 smuggling loads and performed 37 rescues. In Laredo sector on April 18th, Border Patrol in the Laredo sector posted that over the course of 2 days, agents utilizing service canines halted 3 human smuggling attempts at the Interstate 35 checkpoint north of Laredo. All cases involved tractor trailers, resulting in over 300 illegal aliens being apprehended at that border crossing. In all 3 incidents, service canines were instrumental in alerting agents to the individuals being smuggling, who were from Mexico, Guatemala, Honduras, El Salvador, Nicaragua, and Ecuador. Agents intercepted a human smuggling event in Cotula. During a search of the vehicle, a loaded revolver was found inside a backpack in the rear seat of the truck involved. You see that photo on your screen there of the gun, a nice revolver. On April 20th, the tractor trailer approached the primary inspection lanes of I-35 checkpoint. During the inspection, over 120 illegal aliens were discovered inside the trailer, to include several unaccompanied children. The individuals were identified as being from the countries of Mexico and Guatemala. In the Rio Grande Valley sector on April 18th, agents working in coordination with the Donna Police Department responded to a report of a possible migrant stash house where they discovered, guess how many? 29 illegals in extreme and overcrowded conditions. Earlier that day, agents working in coordination with the Delgado County Constable Precinct 4 deputies received information of a suspected stash house in Edinburgh, not to be confused with Edinburgh, Virginia. No, they mean Edinburgh, Texas. Just in case you didn't know. They discovered 2 illegal aliens living there. No caretaker was identified. Now, that's the person who cares for the migrants while they're in these stash houses. Additionally, agents encountered 2 large groups totaling 468 illegals in Starr County. The group consisted of 162 family members, 71 unaccompanied children, and 235 single adults from Central America, Cuba, and Peru. On April 19th, agents and canines responded to a suspected smuggling attempt near Alton after Texas Department of Public Safety DPS troopers conducted a vehicle stop on a Dodge pickup pulling a cattle trailer suspected of having a concealed compartment. A canine alerted to the discovery of 13 illegals from Central America trapped under bales of hay in an enclosed wooden compartment. The unventilated compartment forced the aliens to sit with their knees to their chests and their heads bowed over and down. This smuggling tactic placed the aliens alive at further risk due to the excessive heat in the compartment and approximately 1 hour travel time to the Falfurrias checkpoint. DPS took custody of the driver and 2 other suspects who will be charged with alien smuggling. That same day, agents responded to a request for assistance from DPS troopers near Brownsville. Troopers pursued a Mercury sedan after the driver failed to yield during a traffic stop, which ended with the vehicle veering off of the road, crashing through the Port of Brownsville gate, and came to a stop where multiple people bailed out. Agents arrived at scene and apprehended 7 illegal aliens. DPS took custody of the U.S. citizen driver, who will face charges for speeding, evading arrest, and smuggling people. On April 20th, agents working near Norias attempted to initiate an immigration inspection of the occupants of a F-150. I would pull over a Ford, too, if I was a police officer. Get a Chevy. Anyway, the driver immediately veered the vehicle off the road and came to a stop because Fords can't drive off-road. And all the occupants bailed from the vehicle and into the nearby brush. Agents arrested 2 aliens without incident. The driver was not located. He got away. Agents working in coordination with DPS responded to a report of a possible stash house in Roma where they discovered 6 illegal aliens. Later that day, agents received information of a suspected stash house in Edinburgh. Agents and Delgado County Sheriff's deputies convened at the residence and discovered 11 illegals, including 2 unaccompanied children, a 17-year-old Salvadorian female, and an 11-year-old Mexican male. No caretaker was identified for those people. That evening, agents near McCook observed another F-150 truck suspected of transporting illegals. The truck was discovered on fire, typical Ford, after the vehicle had crashed through private property gates. Agents apprehended 12 illegal aliens after searching the area, and the driver was not located. The San Isidro police department or fire department was called and successfully put out the fire. Additionally, agents encountered two large groups totaling 356 in Starr County. The groups consisted of 217 adults, 102 family members, and 37 unaccompanied children from Central and South America and Cuba. On April 21st, that was all one day. On April 21st, agents observed several suspects loaded into a parked Hyundai SUV. Okay, here we go. The vehicle quickly pulled away as agents approached and failed to yield after agents activated emergency equipment. During the pursuit, four subjects were observed leaping from the fast-moving vehicle. The pursuit was handed over to the Mercedes Police Department while agents assisted the four injured illegals now in their custody. Among the group were two unaccompanied children, 16-year-old Mexican female and a 16-year-old Mexican male. EMS was requested for the subjects. They were transported to a local hospital. MPD was unable to locate the vehicle. Agents working in coordination with the Edinburgh Police Department received information of a suspected stash house where they discovered 20 illegal aliens. No caretaker was discovered there. About an hour later, agents received information of a suspected stash house in Pharr, Texas. Agents and the Pharr Police Department officers convened at the residence and discovered 5 illegals. Guess what? No caretaker. Agents encountered a large group totaling 116 people near La Guerrilla. I messed that one up too. The group consisted of 35 family members, 29 unaccompanied children, and 52 single adults from Central America and Cuba. Agents and local law enforcement partners disrupted 5 human smuggling events, encountering 3 large groups totaling 517 in Starr County and resulting in 543 apprehensions in the span of 24 hours. The groups consisted of 287 single adults, 143 family members, 87 unaccompanied children from Central and South America, Kazakhstan, and Cuba. And then it just keeps going. We write this every day. Lauren is a beast. She's a beast. I can't even keep reading this. Actually, I'm almost done. Let's just go. I still have to talk about all the drugs. It's taking forever. On April 22nd, agents initiated a traffic stop on a Chevrolet Malibu near Lynn. The driver failed to yield to the marked service unit and a pursuit ensued, ending when the vehicle veered off of the road and multiple people fled. 5 illegals were apprehended, but the driver was not located. Agents working in the Falfurrias border. Isn't that how you say it? It seems like that's how you'd say it. Falfurrias. Anyway, agents working at the Falfurrias Border Patrol Station checkpoint inspected a tractor trailer carrying produce following a canine alert and discovered 3 illegals from El Salvador and Colombia under a tarp amongst the produce. Ew. Within an hour, another tractor trailer encountered by FLF agents at the checkpoint. 6 illegals from Central America were discovered laying amongst pallets of produce on that truck as well. DPS troopers observed a Volkswagen Jetta stop suddenly south of the FLF checkpoint primary inspection lane. The driver unloaded several suspects and drove away. Agents, with the assistance of DPS, apprehended 3 illegals in the nearby brush who had fled the vehicle. The driver was not located, though. Later that evening, DPS requested assistance from the McAllen Border Patrol Station during a stop in Mission, Texas. The driver, a citizen of Mexico, and the 6 passengers, who are citizens of Mexico, Guatemala, and Honduras, were apprehended. Illegal border crossings are at record highs, with over 221,303 in March alone. Recently, the federal judge temporarily blocked the Biden administration from ending Title 42, and the Supreme Court heard oral arguments on the Remain in Mexico program, a policy administration has been fighting in the courts since shortly after taking office. Now, we could talk about some of the drug smuggling incidents here. I don't know, there's so many. Yeah, we'll do it. Because no one else does. Mainstream media doesn't do it, so we have to do it. It's our duty. It's our duty. And I'm not talking about poop, even though the story's poop, but it's something that still has to be reported. During the first 6 months of fiscal year 22, which runs from October 1st through May 31st, U.S. Customs and Border Protection Del Rio sector agents encountered more than 944 illegal aliens. Including that figure are 22 convicted sex offenders. We were able to gather some of the following list of criminals apprehended at the border last week alone. In Del Rio sector, agents apprehended a group of 5 illegal aliens near Brackettsville. During processing, record checks revealed that Victor Alfonso Cruz Garcia, 35, a Honduran national, was convicted of second-degree murder in North Carolina in 2012 and was sentenced to 14 years and 3 months confinement. As a convicted felon with prior removals, the suspect faces a charge of reentry after deportation, which carries a maximum sentence of up to 20 years in prison. Which is great, taxpayer dollars that work, Anyway, last weekend, a man with a previous conviction for sexual abuse of a child was arrested near Eagle Pass. In Laredo sector, April 20th, agents intercepted a failed human smuggling attempt at Highway 35 checkpoint north of Laredo. An individual in the group was identified as Daniel Calixto Santos, a 26-year-old Mexican national. Record checks revealed he had a prior felony conviction for aggravated sexual assault of a child out of Texas. A CBP officer inspecting pedestrian traffic arriving from Mexico at the gateway to the Americas Bridge identified Brian James McQuarrie, a 67-year-old male United States citizen, as having an outstanding felony warrant for third-degree sexual exploitation of a minor out of Greensboro, North Carolina. On April 15th, in the Rio Grande Valley sector, agents apprehended a group of 9 illegal aliens. Records checks on an adult male from Guatemala revealed he was convicted of sex with a minor less than 16 years old and had served 180 days of 3 years. What? Had served 180 days and 3 years probation. Oh my God, dude. On April 18th. See, that's a failure in our judicial system. He only did 180 days for sex with someone under 16. Fucking gross. Following an alert by a canine out the Falfurrias Border Patrol checkpoint, an inspection of a tractor trailer revealed 4 illegals. Among the group was a Salvadorian adult male. Records checks he had a 2020 conviction of sexual assault of a child. And they're just deporting him, getting him out of the country, and then they come right back in to exploit more children. Awesome. These are the people that the Biden administration is allowing in. I want you guys all to realize that. And some. We'll talk about that in a second. But and some, Additionally, agents arrested in 18th Street in a Maria MS-13 gang member with extensive arrests. And it just goes on. Look, I'm not going to read all this. Look, look, I was looking at truck caps from my truck. That's why that showed up there. But this is insane. This is every week, guys. Every week. And you must be thinking to yourself, like, how is the Border Patrol dealing with it? Like, how do they feel? And I have a video. There's an interview, a new podcast that I found, and I don't remember the name of the podcast, but I want to play a video for you. Make sure my sound is on. Hopefully, let's double check real quick.
It's been like.
Yeah, it is. Okay. So I'm going to play a video for you. It's short, only a minute, but I want you guys to hear this.
Well, it's been a bit of a whirlwind if you think about it. Certainly going into the new fiscal year in October, we closed out a very busy 21. You think about the challenges we had with COVID, the loss of 16 Border Patrol agents, 2 contractors, to various issues. And then you think about going into a new fiscal year and a continuing resolution and an increase in numbers. I mean, you and I have been doing this a long time, Chief, and typically in the fall months and towards the end of the year, our numbers start to drop. We didn't experience that this year, and really we didn't experience it last year either. It has certainly put a significant amount of pressure. And then you think about in September with what we experienced in Del Rio with the Haitian migration crossings that occurred underneath that port of entry. That's a way to start off as a 25th chief, right into the fire.
It's unbelievable. It's unbelievable that this is even going on. It's unbelievable that mainstream media doesn't even really cover this. Yeah, sure, Fox News does. Fox News had on repeat today the video of the migrant dying. A Fox News reporter was down at the river by the Rio Grande this morning. National Guard troops and DPS officers are no longer going into the Rio Grande to rescue these people after losing a Texas National Guard member last week who drowned. A 19-year-old guy had a life to live. He's serving our country because the Biden administration won't do it. And he drowned and died, so that they're not going in anymore. So this morning, and the video's all over social media, and Fox News had it on repeat, showing a migrant dying, right there on video, because no one can help him. And yet they're still crossing. And there was another guy in the water. Luckily, they were able to rescue him later on, I believe. But drowning, this is what happens. And it's sad. But it's worse. So we only talk about like what we know. We talk about this stuff. Project Veritas, and I don't really like their type of journalism, but I gotta say, they're fucking good. They're good. They released a new video today. It's 4 minutes long. I'm going to play it in its entirety. And please don't copyright strike me, Project Veritas. I don't know if you do that, but please don't. I want you guys to watch this video in its entirety, because we watched that hearing last week with Secretary Mayorkas in front of the House Judiciary Committee, and they were asking about people on the terror list that got into the United States, right? We all know that. We heard it. We know it's happened. We thought the number was 24. Project Veritas has a whistleblower within the federal government, and it seems that number may be a lot more. And they have names, and those people are on the streets right now in America. Watch this.
A source inside the federal government has come forward to reveal suspected terrorists are roaming freely inside the United States following the Biden administration's exit strategy in Afghanistan and the government's initiative to shelter fleeing refugees, known as Operation Allies Welcome.
I am so proud of what we were capable of doing and what we did in Operation Allies Welcome.
We have evacuated nearly 28,000 people on both U.S. and coalition aircraft. We are conducting thorough security screening. Anyone arriving in the United States will have undergone a background check.
The records we've obtained confirm these individuals as national security threats currently within our borders. Meet Anwar Halak Wahidi, who is classified as a Category 15 threat by the Department of Homeland Security for having used explosives or arms. Category 15 falls under the Tier 1 threat level, which is labeled as armed and dangerous. Documents further reveal he was only added to the terrorist watch list after already being admitted into the U.S. on October 17, 2021, under Operation Allies Welcome. Wahidi applied the next day for his 2-year work visa, and 10 days later, it was approved. Nazir Ahmad Rahimi entered the U.S. on August 24, 2021, flagged by DHS because he has engaged or is likely to engage in an unspecified violent terrorist act. Despite being apprehended by ICE while in the U.S., he is yet to be deported, and his last known address is in our nation's capital. Ismail Jarrah arrived in the U.S. on August 31, 2021. Less than a month later, he was re-added to the terror watch list as a Category 15 for having used explosives or arms. Since then, his work visa has been approved. Tassanullah Wafa Manazil was paroled into the U.S. on October 14, 2021. The next day, he was re-added to the terror watch list as a Category 7 threat if enters the U.S., and also approved for his 2-year work visa. Iqbal Alakoze was arrested in Afghanistan on December 11, 2014 and charged with murder. But that didn't stop him from being paroled into the U.S. on August 25, 2021. Records indicate ICE dismissed his case, saying it, quote, does not meet ICE enforcement priorities, unquote. He remains in the U.S. and his work visa is pending. This doesn't even begin to scratch the surface. Those we've investigated are just a small sample size, all of whom still remain within our borders. Our source inside the federal government has identified numerous cases involving people who pose national security risks. This begs the question, how could this be happening?
I am so proud, so proud of what we were capable of doing and what we did in Operation Allies Welcome. Thousands of our Afghan allies paroled into the United States swiftly received employment authorization. We're also continuing to work with the State Department to improve the efficacy, integrity, security, and transparency of the U.S. refugee admissions program, which, as you know, was almost dismantled over the last 4 years.
To date, Operation Allies Welcome has brought over 84,000 Afghan refugees into the United States. According to our source, known terrorists are also gaining access to the country through the southern border, as millions of people stream across unchecked every year. Our federal agencies are clearly aware of the crisis, yet seem to prioritize accelerated vetting over the security of Americans. This is only the beginning of our investigation. Stay tuned.
Insane stuff, guys. Insane. And that's what's happening on our southern border. I mean, I just spent 20 minutes going over our disorder on the border report, and it's insane. And I'm not even halfway through the news. But first, here's a little message from our sponsors.
I work for a federal agency. I've been doing this job for over 23 years. When I come home from work, what's rewarding to me is that I know that I'm out there serving and protecting the citizens of the United States. My job can be dangerous. There's conflict, aggression, and sometimes life-threatening situations. On June 12th, 2018, I was patrolling near a mountain range and I heard a noise in the gravel. I turned and I saw 2 muzzle flashes. It was clear it was an ambush. I was shot 6 times. Getting shot feels like 1,000 needles penetrating your body. I felt immense heat, and then later the pain kicked in, and I had to do everything I could to save my own life. I survived because I was wearing my body armor. If not, my wife would be a widow, and my daughter wouldn't have a father. Spartan armor saved my life.
Finding the right CBD product for you can be tough. Just CBD has you covered. We offer the highest quality, most consistent CBD gummies on the market, with soothing 100% organic CBD in every mouth-watering gummy. All of our products are lab certified and made in the United States using organically grown hemp. Each of our gummies gives you between 8 and 25 milligrams of soothing CBD. Enjoy all the benefits of CBD in our amazing line of gummies with Just CBD.
All right, so let's talk about this trucker convoy, the People's Convoy that traveled up Interstate 205 on Saturday and came under fire, sort of. Well, they definitely came under fire, but not bullets. We'll talk about that as well. But first, I got to give a shout out to Jada in Oklahoma. I'm a little bit late. I said I was going to do it 10 minutes ago. Jada in Oklahoma. Shout outs for you. How do you like that? And tell your dad I sent him that invoice. Let's get it done. Let's do some business. Ha! Anyway, so this trucker convoy, right? So the trucker convoy is driving on. It's still going. It's not the same group of people. This is a different group with a different mission. They're not focused just on COVID or anything like they were before. That's not the priority. Yeah, that's still a priority, but now they're talking about everything. They're taking the inputs of everybody else. They're kind of doing what I was saying that I wish they did a long time ago. Talked about fuel, talked about the rising cost of fuel, talked about some of the issues in trucking, talked about, they were talking about the border, talking about how groups going up to the northern border. I don't know what. These are not the same group of people that are out there, but the same streamers are out there, and they're still out there raising awareness for the industry. I just hope they don't make it. I hope they don't do a bad job. Anyway, so this group was driving up to Washington for a rally, I believe, somewhere in Washington on Saturday. And as they were driving up, they were on an interstate they were under an overpass when Antifa, black bloc people, and everyone could say, well, you don't know they're Antifa. Actually, we do. The Scarface, whatever his name is, the Antifa guy that's been arrested like 15 times in Portland for rioting with Antifa, he was there and he was video recording it as well. But they were throwing rocks and paint balloons and frozen eggs and cooked eggs and water bottles and all sorts of stuff at these trucks that are driving 60 miles an hour below them. So of course the trucks, stop on the interstate so they're not going to crash when a, frozen egg comes running, through their windshield. They stop. That's the safest thing to do. We saw how some in the media or some elected officials in the city of Portland said that the truckers actually stopped to block the interstate, didn't even mention the fact that people are throwing stuff at them. I will say there was gunshots that rang out. I watched a bunch of videos. Thank you to one of our viewers, Grammy something, whatever your name is. But she called me out on it because I said, I give I give the truckers benefit of the doubt, especially when it comes to dealing with domestic terrorists, because that's what these people are. They're domestic terrorists. I know everybody says, like, if you watch this, you're probably like, wait a second, DHS and FBI said white supremacy. That's the biggest threat to democracy, no, or threat to our country right now. No, it's actually not. It's these scumbags that are in Portland, Oregon, Seattle, Washington, Philadelphia, New York, all over the country. There's a lot of them, and it's worldwide. We saw riots on May Day, May 1st, yesterday, in Paris, Seattle, where Montreal, they rioted and did a whole bunch of damage up there. Germany, they rioted up there as well. We saw all those riots yesterday for May Day. It's what they do in the beginning, or May 1st every single year. And this weekend was no different. Antifa came back. Granted, they didn't have the numbers they had in 2020, which is fortunate for, well, everybody else. But in this instance, it seems that there were people, members of this trucker convoy. And I know I'm going to get flack for saying this, but I don't give a fuck. We report the truth, and you may not like it, and that's okay. You're okay to not like what I have to say. But it appears members of the truckers convoy fired weapons. Fuck them. You shouldn't do that shit, because here's the thing. Here's how I feel about it, right? And I've said this the whole time. You're representing an industry. You are the representative of the country, right? But you're representing an industry. I don't give a shit that they're domestic terrorists up on the 500 meters away. If they can't hit you with an egg, you think you're going to be able to hit them with a handgun? Come on. 2 shots were fired. I watched the videos. I have a good idea who it was. I'm not going to say who it was on the air. I don't know their actual names. I only know what they go by. But any of the truckers that are watching this, those 2 people right there killed your entire movement. Everything that everybody drove across country for, those 2 boneheads that fired those weapons, they gave all the ammo they need. And the rhetoric this morning at the morning meeting. Maybe the PR people that were behind, where are the people that were organizing this? I know Trucker G is there. He seems like a good dude. But the other guy talking about how we're going to go do this, we're going to be peaceful, while saying completely the opposite thing. I don't know. I don't want to be super critical of them, because I agree with what they're doing. But I saw it. Someone said, no, Antifa put out a message. No shots were fired. It was a setup to talk to WYSIWYG. Shots were fired. Yes, they were. 100%. And everyone could say they weren't, but they were. Come on. I could watch. Just because, people want to say it didn't happen. I got you. Tell me. And this is an article from the Gateway Pundit. And I don't even like them for their journalism. You know that. Hold on. Did they delete that article? Where is it? See. So for everyone that said there was no gunfire, let's have you be the judge. Let's have you be the judge. Full screen this bitch, shall we? All right. Tell me that wasn't a gunshot. You even hear the casing drop. Don't try to pretend like that wasn't a gunshot. All right? don't even pretend it wasn't. Someone said maybe we're sick of it. Yeah, but again, gun safety. Are you really going to try to shoot someone from 100 yards away with a handgun when they're on an overpass in the rain while other people are around? Where's that bullet go after it comes back down? Does it go and enter a car and hit some innocent child who's sitting in the back seat? Fucking bad. Someone said if they threw frozen eggs, it's just as sickening too. Big time hurt it. Yeah, no, and I'm not advocating for violence on either part. The Antifa are domestic terrorists. If they were down blocking the roadway, I'd say go hands on all day long. Antifa does that. They hide up on an overpass because they're a bunch of sissies. But again, truckers, in as much as I hate that group of people, the Antifa scumbags, as much as I think they're, bad people, you have to understand that, to me, the truckers that were driving that day, the truckers that were on the road that day, they are a representative of everybody. But more importantly than that, they are representative of the trucking industry. They are a representative of the owner-operators out there that are still busting their asses, getting, driving around. They are representative of all of us. So that kind of stupidity. Here's a question for you. And anyone that thinks it's just, I saw some stupid comments where people are like, someone said, you don't hear a gunshot. Yes. What? Did I have it muted? How do you? I'm going to blow out your ears right now. That's not a gunshot? Come on. And you want to say that's not a gunshot? Here, just keep listening. Watch, I'll play that again. Those are gunshots. Those are gunshots. Like, people can't. Come on. They're gunshots. And I'll be honest, until I saw this video, I didn't see this video today. I saw Chris's video, WYSIWYG. I saw his video. I heard gunshots. I assumed it was Antifa. They are the domestic terrorists. I don't know how people can say that you're not hearing gunshots because it's pretty damn clear. And it's sad. People are saying, no, not a shot. What are you talking about? How can you say that? Is it just you guys? Someone said, yes, a rifle. That was not a rifle. It's just sad, man. It's sad. It should have never happened. Maybe it was blank. I don't care. It was a gunshot is what I said. And, it's sad, man. And I just think it just represents us all poorly. Someone said, did he shoot the ground? Did it shoot the ground? I have no idea. But we report the truth. Well, someone said it's trolls saying no. Actually, it's not, because I recognize some of them. Like the Free from Fetters. Yeah, it's been a while since you've been in here. You're not a troll. And you know about guns. Or maybe you don't. But you should. Every American should know about guns. Yeah, I mean, you can't really deny that. Someone said, who shot a trucker or streamer? I have no idea who shot. I have no idea. Someone said, I'm not a specialist. Oh, okay, but I've shot enough guns to know what a gunshot sounds like. Anyway, let's just keep going on. So that wasn't the only thing that happened that day, right? So later on, there's a political candidate, and you guys may have seen this, and I'm just going to play this video while we talk about it. There's a political candidate who was attacked. You're going to see that here. I believe, I forgot what his name is. I don't have it queued up. Actually, I could find out real quick by just going like this. Stan Pulliam. He's the mayor of Sandy, Oregon, and he's running for governor. And he was holding a little campaign event, like you see here, in Portland when he was attacked on Saturday by Antifa. And maybe we should just listen so we could hear to what they were saying. And this is, again, in case you just don't pay attention to what's going on. That's why we're showing it. And it just goes on. They throw stuff at him, and you'll see they're spray painting all over this guy's RV. Throwing paint at it, using mace or silly string. I don't know what the hell that is. Silly string? Maybe it's shaving cream? I don't know. See, they're spraying all over. And then the bus pulls off, throwing stuff at him. And then this is where they start going after the camera guy here. And that's where they attack him. Now, and I'll be honest. So, and they end up walking away, and you see all the Antifa guys. This guy came to the camera guy's rescue and stopped him. But here's the thing that I don't understand. I said this yesterday, and I got a couple of hate emails from people, and they're like, why are you criticizing them for not standing up for themselves? They are standing up for themselves. That's why they're out there. My personal belief is these are domestic terrorists. These people you see on your screen right here, these are domestic terrorists. Every single last one of them. And they should be dealt with. And I'm not talking about shooting or killing or anybody. Citizens arrest them. Whatever you got to do. Take off their masks. Arrest them, do a citizen's arrest. Take off their masks. Take the photo and put it all over social media. Maybe we have to start doing what they do to everybody on the right. Maybe that's what we need to do. But most of these guys probably don't have jobs. They're probably doing OnlyFans like Alyssa Azar, posting nudes online, and they're getting all mad that they get out. Maybe that's why, they go and do this for free. We know they're not actually paying any bills. They don't have regular jobs. But then again, we found some that do. Remember the guy that shot the gunman that opened fire at the Antifa protest the other day? He had a job, a really good job. And he's hanging out with all these Antifa guys, playing security guard. So maybe they do. I don't know, man. It's, I don't know why hands were thrown. That's my thing. Maybe it's because conservatives are always just taking that, the higher, raising the bar, being better than the people that are attacking them. I don't know. But I can honestly say women were injured there. A woman was treated for, injuries to her ears from the smoke bombs and everything that were going off. A man had injuries to his hand as well. It's unclear of why or what his injuries were. Police didn't arrest anybody. Police, in fact, you want to know what Portland police did? And this really chaps my ass, as the expression goes. You know what really ticks me off the most about this is these people did exactly what a good, upstanding citizen are supposed to do. And I'm talking about the people that were part of this campaign. They called the police. And they were patched through to a sergeant who was nearby, apparently watching this, or close by, trying to ready troops, but they don't have enough people in Portland anymore to do their job, to police. They have too many murders, too many crimes. Just Friday night, they had a stolen truck. They had stolen ambulances. They had 2 people run over by a stolen vehicle. They had gunshot shootouts and all sorts of stuff. Just in one day. Just in one day in the city. But those people, they called the police, and the police told them to leave. And then they issue a press release saying when police finally got to the scene, everyone had fled. There was nobody there. We put crime tape up. I mean, what do you expect? What did they expect? I think they would expect that people eventually are going to take matters into their own hands. Now, again, that doesn't mean shooting from 150 feet away. It doesn't, because that's not responsible at all. And to be honest, you don't pull a gun and shoot it unless you're planning on killing someone. You just don't. Or maybe that's just me. I don't fire warning shots, and I never will, ever. Like, if I ever have to pull my gun, it's because it's getting used, And I certainly am not going to shoot at someone that's 150 feet away or fire warning shots into the air. Where's that bullet go? Everyone who's sitting there defending them or saying it didn't happen, that's bullshit, because it did. That ticked me off that all you guys were doing that. You shouldn't. And I don't think it's trolls. I think it's people that are just trying to be like, well, no, it didn't happen. Steve, stop talking about it. It didn't happen. We can't admit when we do something wrong. That's the problem with conservatism, is when we fuck up, no one wants to admit to it. We just blame it on anybody else. That's what the Democrats are doing right now, too. Everything they do, they're like, well, Donald Trump did this first. We got to do better. Unless you have a SCAR 20, and then you're good. And then you can shoot from afar. You can just spray and pray. Isn't that the expression? Anywho, so this political candidate getting attacked by Antifa was great for him because he's making national news and he's getting the message across. He was on Fox and Friends this morning, The 5. He was on Sean Hannity, or the one before this. What's the show before 8 o'clock? And he'll probably be on Sean Hannity talking about it as well. But this wasn't the only one. In Seattle, Washington, they also had Antifa. Katie Daviscourt, a journalist for the Post Millennial. She's great. She goes out and covers all these riots in Portland or Seattle all the time. She was assaulted when an Antifa streamer, Alyssa Azar, again, the one that has all the nudes online, when she told Antifa who she was, said that she was some conservative streamer. So Antifa attacked her. They attacked the street preacher. Remember when we watched all the riot footage? Remember that? We watched all the riot footage in Portland where they attacked that preacher and saran wrapped him or taped him to a tree, a street preacher. And then he went up to Chaz and he was assaulted in Chaz. And then he went back down to Portland. He was assaulted in Portland again. Yeah, he was apparently in Seattle yesterday for the May Day March, giving his sermons while walking up and down the street. And he was brutally attacked by Antifa again yesterday. It's almost annoying that CNN doesn't cover it. You know what I mean? Because if there was a Trump rally right now that turned violent, right? Say counter protesters showed up and Trump, and the people that went to a Trump rally got violent and kicked some ass. If that was to happen, you know damn well CNN would be running it on repeat over and over and over and over. Oh my God, can you believe what they did? Oh my God, Trump, 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 Trump. That's what they'd be doing. But CNN doesn't cover it. The MSNBC doesn't cover it. And you know what? Because you can't support that kind of behavior anyway. So I was almost going to say, like, you could cover it and just be unbiased. But there's nothing to be unbiased about. They are committing acts of terror on city streets. They are going after preachers. They are going after religious groups. They're going after now political candidates. That is the definition of domestic terror. That's the definition of terror. All the people that are always like, stop calling it terror. It's not terrorism. Yeah. They're trying to squash someone else's political ideology for their own. That is terror. When you instill fear and use bombs and improvised explosive devices and all that, that is terror to a T. Terror to a T. But people don't like that. People don't like to hear facts anymore. We're not a big fan of facts in our mainstream media outlets. They don't do it, and it's kind of sad. But thank gosh we have the hard hitting journalism from 60 Minutes. You guys see this clip this weekend? It's a pretty good one.
What bird is most suspicious to you?
Really, every bird.
How do you feel about seagulls?
I don't trust them. I'll tell you that. Have you ever been to the beach and you got some food left over and a seagull comes over and tries to get it? That's not because it's hungry. The mainstream media wants to sell us this lie that, oh, birds are hungry. When in fact, the seagulls are taking your food to bring it back to the Pentagon for DNA harvesting and testing.
How do you feel about 60 Minutes? I'm surprised you've decided to sit here with us.
I'm not going to go on news shows, but shows about clocks and time, I'm okay with sharing my information with, and I understand this isn't anything like the media. So, thanks for having me on your clock show.
With that, he finally broke character, and we met the real Peter McIndoe.
You're the person that I've been hearing about but haven't seen.
Okay, great. Well, it's wonderful to meet you.
Yeah, nice to meet you too.
He tried to hold it in for a while, but unbelievable. Unbelievable. There's a whole big movement about that where birds, like, I told my wife and she's like, no, there isn't. I showed her some of the websites and stuff and she's like, what the hell? Like, people are nuts. But that was pretty funny. I've got one little, you guys know we have a coffee company. Did you know that? What's up, guys? Do you like coffee, but you're tired of the shitty Folgers coffee that you buy at your grocery chain? Or are you tired of the wokeness of all these Patriot coffee companies online? Well, check out Pure Truth Coffee Company. You can visit puretruthcoffee.com and order 6 blends. That's what we carry because we don't want to overdo your taste buds. So we have 6 blends of the best coffee. We have Harlem's Finest, where 100% of the proceeds go towards New York City police charities. We've got Awake Not Woke. You know why? Well, because fuck the woke. We've got, what do we got? French Vanilla. It's nice. Smells really great. We got the Wake Up America Breakfast Blend. We've got the Pardon My French Roast. And then we have, if you're a real caffeine addict, we have our signature Flying High octane coffee. Don't drink if you have heart issues because it'll kick your ass. Check it out, puretruthcoffee.com, puretruthcoffee.com, puretruthcoffee.com. All right, and then to put the old kibosh on this show, to tie it off, we've got a couple of things to talk about real quick, couple of news stories. One that I kind of left out and I forgot to. One of the reasons why Portland can't investigate actual crimes anymore is because they have a major staffing shortage. And new out of Oregon, out of Portland, as homicides in Portland mount, Police Chief Chuck Lovell plans to add more detectives to investigate the killings that are currently going on by pulling them from other divisions, including the supervisor of the cold case homicide squad. The move will close down the cold case temporarily, but he hopes to staff it again as our resources increase. Lovell called the move a difficult decision in a recent memo to Bureau employees, but the current 18 homicide detectives are stretched beyond their capacity with an unsustainable workload. Thanks for that super chat, only Mr. Bill. Thank you, dude. Anyway, last year, the unit was called out to 120 violent scenes as the city experienced a record toll of 92 homicides. The Bureau now has 2 teams of 9 homicide detectives. The chief wants to move 3 teams of 8 move to 3 teams of 8 detectives. The sergeant, who now leads the cold case unit, would supervise the 3rd team. Lovell plans to pull 2 detectives from the cold case unit and 4 other detectives from property crime investigations to add 6 new homicide detectives. Lovell told the Oregon Live that the moves aren't ideal, but we just need to put more resources towards the current homicides. The chief said he recognizes family members who have lost young ones in years-old homicides. Thanks for the cheers, Mildred Dagger. He said he recognizes family members who have lost ones in years-old unsolved homicides, and they want answers about those killings. And the cold case unit does do important work. He described the move as a pause to cold case investigations, which he would like to restore in the future. So far this year, 33 people have died in homicides in Portland, all but 1 in shootings. 1 homicide resulted from a shooting by a Portland police officer, and another by a shooting by a Clackamas County deputy. Not counting the police shootings, 9 of the 31 homicides so far have resulted in an arrest, with a clearance rate of just 29%. At this time last year, there were 30 homicides in the city. Jessica Berg, chair of the Old Town Community Association, on Thursday called for a moment of silence to remember 2 of the people who were killed in a neighborhood this month, both of who were living on the street. Jennifer Drain, 33, on April 7th, and Fars Gilberbolt, 33, the following day. Berg said they lost their lives because our city and county lacked the urgency to find an immediate solution. The police bureau continues to face significant staffing shortages. As of Thursday, it had 110 vacancies out of an authorized strength of 882 sworn officers. Another 40 sworn bureau members are eligible to retire in July, and they're going to. The Bureau's cold case homicide website holds a list of more than 220 names of victims from unsolved homicides cases dating back to the 1960s. Former Chief Derek Foxworth started the cold case squad in 2005, then a 5-member unit of 3 Portland police officers, an FBI agent, and an investigator with the district attorney's office. At times, retired detectives and civilians were enlisted to assist with its investigations. I don't know, man. It's very sad that this is even happening. It's sad for some reason. Maybe it's just because, like I said, I like Portland. The Portland I remember, not the Portland as it is now. The Portland I remember back in the old beaten ICP and Pioneer Square days. Like, those were fun. Now it's just shit, you know? And I know it probably pisses off a lot of those Antifa guys, the ones that are like my age right now, because they're like, oh my God, did I know that guy? Yeah, you probably did. Except you weren't Antifa by then. You were probably just a gutter punk like the rest of us. And then you went commie. And then you lost all hope at being human. Anyway, some other interesting stories you may or may not know. Fox News is still going on with its lawsuit against Dominion. I think we are going to work on an article, but it's going to take us a couple of days because it's pretty complex. But Fox News is taking a different approach to fighting Dominion voter systems in court. You may remember Dominion voting systems sued Fox News, Mike Lindell, Cindy Powell, and a bunch of other people for their reporting, allegedly, connecting Dominion voter systems to questions about the election in 2022. See how I said that? Really nice for social media. And I would like to remind everybody, we were the first ones to mention in writing Dominion voter systems because we tied all their contracts to all the states that were in question, and then everybody else kept running with the story, not making up stuff, but jumping to conclusions. That's not what we do as journalists, or it's not supposed to. So we stopped writing about it for the most part. Anyway, Dominion is suing a bunch of people because they spoke ill of Dominion, and Eric Loomer, was that his name? I forgot his name. Eric Coomer, who was arrested for a DWI just last year, I believe, after that. And he thinks he's famous. Oh, just Google my name. Anyway, Fox News seems to be taking an interesting approach to defending them. Themselves, because Dominion is saying, hey, all the shit you said is fake. So Fox News is like, hold my beer. And they are submitting FOIA requests and all these court documents to depose and do depositions on all these executives. It seems that their strategy in defending themselves against the lawsuit is to prove that there was election issues in the 2020 election. Fox News isn't reporting that. That is, according to the court documents, it appears that Fox News' lawyers are actually doing some digging. And if that is true, that's great. And that's why Mike Lindell is so hyped about all these lawsuits where he wants these companies to sue him, because discovery is powerful. That's what I said to you guys before. Discovery is powerful. And it looks like Fox News said, all right, you guys want to sue us with a frivolous lawsuit, so we're gonna start subpoenaing your records and subpoenaing and doing FOIA requests to government agencies to tie kickbacks to the they're going hard. So we'll have to see. We are going to find out. April is digging into it. I'll probably look at some of the documents on Pacer tomorrow as well, because it's going to be a lot to go through. We have some big shows this week. On Wednesday, we're going to have Christopher Christopherson. I think I keep butchering his name. He probably watches this every day and he's like, what the hell, Steve? But I keep butchering his name. He's going to be on our show on Thursday. I think we're going to be doing a recorded interview. That's what I have to do with a lot of the candidates because they're so busy right now. But he's going to be on Thursday. On Friday, he's going to be on Wednesday. On Friday, we are going to have Josh Barnett. He's running for Congress, I believe, in Arizona. And then next Wednesday, we're going to have Merritt Hale. That's going to be recorded. Josh will be live. Next Wednesday, we're going to have a recorded interview with Merritt Hale. He is running for District 7 congressional seat against Ben Klein. That's my district. So I'm very interested. And we're going to start doing a lot more of these interviews. You have a politician that you want that's running for national office, the midterms. I want to do, 2 or 3 interviews every day, or and we'll do recorded interviews, even though we all hate them. They just have to agree that anything they say is going to be broadcasted live. We don't clip anything out. Interview will be played start to finish. But we're going to be doing a lot of these interviews because, well, you guys need to find out who's going to Washington. And you're not going to be able to find out from mainstream media because they're not going to cover it. And a lot of you guys may say, well, I live in Virginia. Why do I care about a politician that's running for office in Arizona? I'm not voting for him. He still represents you in that building. He represents your interests. Everybody should be paying attention to who's running everywhere. And that's why we're going to do it. We'll do governors, anyone that wants to come on that's running for governor. We had previous people that have come on, but I'm going to be doing a lot. Like the style of the show is going to change, and I'm going to make it better. And every single day we're just going to keep doing better and better and better. And that's it. The time for my show is going back to 9 o'clock unless I have a show that's going to run later, because now I have to drive home. I don't do the show from my house. I do it from our studio store, but we bought a house 20 miles away. So now I have to drive. So if I think the show's going to go longer than an hour, I'm going to cut in at 8 o'clock and you guys will know. Otherwise, it'll be live. Some days it'll be recorded, but show's going to be great. We're going to try to have guests on every couple of times a week talking about everything. I think this week I may have a trucking CEO that may come on and talk about the trucking industry and what Biden's policies are potentially doing to the industry. Is the freight industry going to recover? A lot of people in the trucking industry right now are saying, maybe not, and preparing for what they're calling a bloodbath. So we may have him on this week. A lot of politicians and all that stuff. I appreciate you. Last thing before I wrap this show up, if any of you guys own a business and you are interested in advertising on our coffee cups, we are opening the first. So if you have a national business, online store or something, we have our store, which we're opening August 1st, and we're printing. That's what we're doing. We're giving away free coffee, world's first free coffee shop, coffee company, whatever. But we're giving away free cups of coffee. It's paid for by the advertising on the cups. So we've already got quite a few advertisers lined up. We're trying for more. We're going to be giving away free coffee at every single Trump rally starting as soon as my kids are done with school. The Wyoming rally, he announced a rally on the end of May. Sucks. You know why? It's a day after my kids end with school. If it was the next day, or the next weekend, I would be in Wyoming with my kids at a Trump rally, which would be dope because we're going to Wyoming anyway. For anyone that doesn't know, from the end of May, I think it's May 24th or some shit like that, 25th, I don't know what day. But the end of May for 2 weeks, I'm taking my boys and we're going to go see the country. We'll live stream as much as we can. A lot of recorded videos, just different places, interviews with random people. It's going to be awesome. But if you own a company and you want to advertise in a new way, that's a cutting edge way, send me an email, social@citizenstringer.com, or to send it to coffee@puretruthcoffee.com, coffee@puretruthcoffee. Our coffee orders, you may see some of them are out of stock. I actually got the coffee, have to package it, label it and all that. Probably by Wednesday, I'll have that good. My focus is getting these damn Patriot boxes out. As soon as I get the mugs, the new ones will go out. But yeah, thanks for watching. We'll see you all tomorrow. Oh, and then newsflash for everyone watching on Citizen Stringer. We don't do 24/7 programming anymore. It'll be a placeholder. I'll update it here in a second. This show will be on demand in about 20 minutes, but there'll be a placeholder with a schedule for tomorrow. I know a lot of you guys don't like the Johnny Depp trial. It's actually pretty good. I'm interested in it. That's why we're watching it. And there was a couple hundred people watching it today, and they seem to like it too. And if there's big news, I'll cut in. But for right now, that's the plan. No 24/7 stream. For the time being until we find a better solution for what we were doing. Thank you all for watching.